Okay, I think in the interest of time, we can start. Yeah. So today's webinar, we are going to be talking about choosing the best budgeting method. So there are different budgeting methods out here. When you're making your budgeting decisions, it's now deciding which is the best, what best suits me. If you follow me on social media, you'd see I'd said we are all different. We do things differently. And at times it's always the secret is to find that one thing that you feel you're comfortable doing, and in that way you're able to do it for longer. And budgeting is one of those skills that we don't master just when we start. It's one of those where we keep improving as we continue doing, and the secret to it is continue doing it. So that's what we're going to be looking at during today's webinar. What are these different budgeting methods, and how are we able now to choose the best that is for us? And so with that, allow me to start with just a word of prayer. Or religions respected. So we bow and we say, thank you, Father, for bringing us here today together. As we go through this webinar, you ask that you bless each and every one of us, that we may leave this session having gained some insight, and not just gained the insight, but to be able to put it into practice in our daily lives as well. We pray this in believing and trusting in your name. Amen. So a brief introduction as we start. My name is Linda Makatiani. I've seen someone is asking, can we see you maybe for a minute or so? So yes, that is me. Hi, everyone. It's good to have all of you here. I had put my camera off. I'll put it off during the presentation. But yes, as I'm introducing myself, my name is Linda Makatiani. It's good to have all of you here with us. Hello, guys. I am a financial literacy trainer and an investing coach. So basically what I do is I help people. I work with people as they go through their investing journey, their personal finance journey. And I enjoy doing this, getting people to understand in the simplest way possible how to be able to go through your personal finance journey. Everything from understanding how to budget, understanding where and how and why you should save, and where and how to invest, and all that. So I'm very happy to be hosting you today during this session. As I said, our session today is we are covering on budgeting methods. We had our first webinar in collaboration with Chooms, where we just talked about getting people to understand about budgeting. So I will have both webinars up on my YouTube channel. So then now, if you had missed the first webinar we had done with Chooms, then you can be able to join in. So again, this webinar is in collaboration with Chooms, the savings app. So, they've happily partnered with me to be able to promote financial literacy, because in as much as they're trying to get people to save, they want people to understand why are they saving and how can they save. And part of that is being able to be financially literate. So I have to say thank you to Chooms for coming on board for this, with this partnership for this webinar. Yeah. So budgeting, yeah. And when we think about budgeting, of course, there's a bit we start thinking about money, but money is just part of wealth. When you think about wealth, wealth is there's social wealth, there's financial wealth, which is now what we are talking about today. But all that, it starts with, especially financial wealth, it starts with financial discipline. Yeah. And I tell people, part of the reason why we see maybe there are people out there we normally see and we go like, oh, that person looks like they have so much money, they would never go broke. But after a while you hear, they've run out of money, they're broke. So if you don't have that financial discipline, it becomes very hard for you to grow this wealth that you have. So you might have money, But if you're spending it however you want without thinking about tomorrow, then now what happens? You reach the point where you're looking and you're telling yourself, I had, it becomes past tense. So wealth starts with financial discipline. The little that you have, the more that you have, you need to be disciplined about how you are managing it. And we've said this is a season where we want to make smart money moves. And part of the smart money moves is to understand, so how do we manage our money? And basically budgeting is one of the financial disciplines that we need to learn. Now, in the first webinar, we just broke down, unpacked what budgeting is. So in a nutshell, budgeting is a plan for your money. And I always share that when you think about budgeting, I want you to think about when you're calling your friends, and you're asking them, what is the plan? Where can we go? What are you doing? So that you see how you can rope yourself into those plans. That's the same thing with budgeting. So think of budgeting as your money calling you on your line and asking you, Esther, Irene, or Eric, Kasase, what's up? How are you? What's the plan? And then now you're responding and saying, oh, by the way, this is the plan. So that response to that plan, when your money has called you, that is your budget. Yeah. And basically you're saying, so this is the money that is coming in, which is your income. And you're saying, this is how we are going to do. You, part of you, I'm going to place you here. This other one, we are going to use you for this. You, we are going to keep you here because we are saving for 1, 2, 3. And in simple terms, that is what budgeting. Don't think of it as something very, very complicated. Think of it as just a plan of, yes, I have my money, it's coming in. I always say income is income, the in, something that is coming in, So once it comes in, you have to give it some plan. What is it? What's the direction that we are going to take? And now that becomes your budget. So when you're thinking about your budget, the key components that make up your budget, of course, there's the income. And this doesn't just have to be one. If you're in permanent employment, so you have your income as your salary, that's the money that is coming into your account, you're coming into that cash. So if you're in consultancy, it's the fees that you're getting paid for the services that you're offering. If you're in business, it's part of the money, so if this is the business and it's made some money and you're like, okay, this goes back to the business, this is now the one that the business is paying me as the business owner. Of course, you are the owner, but you're also an employee in that business. So that is what the business is paying you. So that is your income as well. It could be as well for the ones now who are maybe already savvy and they are investing. It could be if you're already investing, whatever it is you've invested in and it's paying you some passive income, some dividends of some interest, that money is coming into you. So now that becomes part of your income. So that's the first component when it comes to your budget. At the top there, it's the money that is coming in. And then now you have, so what is this money that is coming in going to be used for? Then now you list and you start from order of priority. So you have all the basic expenses. These are things that you cannot do without. So if you're living, you're renting a place, basic, you need housing, so you have to pay your rent out. You have food you need to eat. There are all the bills you need to pay, water, electricity, you have internet, all those. And then there are other additional expenses. If you are working somewhere that is far from your home, then that means you have to start catering for transport. Of course, we'll want to make our hair for the ladies. The gents, you'll have to put money aside to groom yourself, go cut your hair, get the roll-on, all those stuff. So you have your personal care expenses as well. And of course, because we are also not living in silos, then that means we have friends, we have networks, we have places we want to be. And then that would mean you're also setting some money aside for entertainment. Then you have also this bit where you're looking at, can I put some money aside for in case there's any emergency? I do not know what tomorrow holds. I don't know what next week is what's going to happen then. So I want to be able to put some money in what you call an emergency fund. So that you also you have it as part of your budget. Then you're also saving for maybe something that you want to buy that is costing a bit amount of money that you're not able to just put together in one day. So you are like, nitaeka tu pole pole, haba na haba, pole pole. When I get to that point, I'm able to buy it. Or when I get to that point, I'm able to go to that place or pay for that course. And then you also looking into, can I be able to put some money so that that money I put there also is earning me some money. So you're looking at investments. So on this is the general outlook of your budget. So you have your budget for the month. Yeah, so you're looking at that. I hope everyone can be able to see that. So you have there your income. This is everything that is coming in. You're looking at, yes, I've done some consulting gigs. I did maybe some videography. I put together some videos for influencer and they've paid me some money, all those. So that is money that you're getting. And then you're thinking about, so do I have any savings? I want to do some savings. So you're putting aside some money for savings. You're putting away some money for investments. And then you're listing down your expenses. I need to have a roof over my head. So I have some, I'm putting some money for rent. I need to at least have some water, electricity. I need internet. Of course, there's food, there's transport, all those things. So you list them down. And you're able now to see. So if you do this on a monthly basis, you end up tracking. Yeah, so you can be able to see January, I put, and I had my savings as 5,000. And I've continued saving February. Now we are in August, we are in month 8. So my savings somewhere, I have 40,000. That is growing slowly. Yeah, my bills, maybe my, let's say transport, I used to pay 3,000 shillings, but now I'm seeing I'm maybe spending 4,000 like that. So it becomes easier for you to track, but you are only able to do that if you have that discipline and consistency of doing it on a monthly basis. Yeah, it doesn't take long. There are 30, 31 days in a month, some 28, but it's just being able now to gain that discipline. And even if you do it on a day, it will not take you a full day to be able to do this. So then we start thinking, so what are these budgeting methods? So we've understood what goes into my budget, and then I need to be able to do that. Just before I go there, so when you look at the budget, there's the expected and there's the actual. So when you're doing this this consultancy gig, you've signed a contract, I'm expecting to receive 30,000 or 10,000. When you're in this employment, you have that contract, your employment contract that stipulates this is the amount of money you're going to receive. Now, when you start tracking your expenses, there are those fixed ones where if I have this, my lease says I'm supposed to pay rent 10,000. So that one is fixed. So I'm going to be paying 10,000. The electricity and the water bill will fluctuate a bit, but once you track it, you always know my water bill comes to 1,000 at most, 700, 800. So you're always able now to put that. That's what I'm expecting to pay at the end of the month. And then as you've received this, then you're looking at, so how am I paying, where is my money going? So now that becomes your actual, how much did I actually spend? So in the month of July, you're doing now your budget. So you're saying in the month of July, I spent 3,000 on transport. So I'm going to set aside 3,000 on transport. If at the end of August you realize you've used more, then you keep track of that. So then you are able now to understand, and this becomes very important for people, especially the ones who don't have like a regular income. It becomes very important for you to be able to understand, can I be able, on average, how much do I use on food? On average, how much do I use on transport? Yeah. So then now you're able now to detail. So this is what I was expecting to use, but this is what I actually used. Now, in between that, your expected and your actual, now you can start seeing opportunities, yeah, of where can I cut down on this? Maybe you had thought I would spend so much money on transport. I spent That means then I am able to save more because of the money that I thought I would be able to spend a lot more on my transport. I didn't. So then maybe there's 500 more I can put onto my savings. But you will never be able to know that if you don't keep track of how you're spending your money, how the money that is coming in. And this is for both the income that is coming in and the money that is you're spending out in the form of expenses. So we look at the first budgeting method, and this budgeting method is called pay yourself first. Yeah. Now, with this budgeting method, you're understanding that you are the number one priority asset in your whole personal finance journey. If there is no you, there is no that job that is going to bring this income. There'll be no those investments that you're going to make that are going to earn you investment income. So you're saying, this money that I have worked so hard to bring in, I am going to set aside some money and pay myself. And you're paying yourself, yes, not of course for you to take all that money and go and spend it, but it's, look, how can I be able to grow myself? And one of the best approaches to adopt is to create wealth. So you're creating wealth for yourself. So this approach is really good for someone who wants to create wealth, because you're saying, I have worked, my income has come in for the hard work that I've done. That money I'm going to pay myself first. So I pay myself, and what I'm paying myself is going to build wealth for me. So you're putting that money into your savings, into your emergency fund, into your investments. Yeah. And if you do that, then that means as you continue with that consistently, then you're able now to start building wealth. So with this method, it's very good for someone who says, yes, with me, I am working now, but my top priority for me is to be able to build wealth. However little I'm earning, if I'm getting that 10, even if I can pay myself 2,000, and then 8,000 goes into all the other expenses, I will pay myself 2,000, and I figured out how to be able to squeeze that 8,000 to cater for everything else. If I'm getting 20,000 and I know I set aside 4,000, I know 16,000 juu chini, I will figure out how to survive on this. But you know that 4,000, you're setting it aside. It's going into your savings. It's starting you off on investing and all that. So it's very good for someone. And as you can see, I'm not talking of 50 or 100. I'm talking for us basics. That small amount, because that 500, that 1,000 you put away now. Imagine if you had started doing that in January. This is August, so even August is not over. So you go up until July. Already you would be having 7,000 that you did not have at the beginning of that January. But it's because you've decided to, I'm going to pay myself that small amount, that 1,000. Now I have 7,000 that maybe is in my Chums account, or maybe I'm starting out on investing in it. So it will start earning you a small amount. So it's very good for the ones now who you're looking at. I want to be able to create wealth. This is one of the budgeting methods that really helps you to be able to do that. So you're looking at your budget, which looks like this. As you can see, it's your income, and then you're paying yourself. And that one is you're putting money aside for your savings. So I'm saying, out of the 40 that I'm getting, out of this 42 that I've actually got, because I got 42 and I thought I want to be able to save and invest, instead of that 2,000 extra that maybe I had done this gig and I thought they would pay me 10,000, but wameniambia hiyo kazi yako ni mzuri sana, and they've given me an extra 2,000. That extra 2,000, when I'm paying myself, it goes to my savings. Yeah, it will not go to me going out or me doing or all these other things. It goes into my savings. So I look at, this is my income. First priority is setting money aside that is going into my emergency fund, is going into my any other fund, or it's going into my investments. Once you do that, and then now what is left is what now you're able to prioritize and see, okay, so now I need to pay bills. What are all these bills that I'm paying? And then you do that. Yeah. So that's the first method. Pay yourself first, for especially for those who are looking to grow their wealth. The second method is the 50-30-20. Now, this is the one which, if you're online and you're looking at budgeting methods, it's the one you're probably seeing a lot. And I know for some of us, we always look at it, and of course, we are told 50% goes into your essential, your basic expenses. Then 30% will go to your wants. So you're thinking about all the personal care, entertainment, or everything else, transport, all that. And then 20% is what goes into your savings and your debt repayments. But I want us to think that we are all in very different financial situations, yeah? And our financial statuses are very different as well. So there is someone who is maybe earning 20 or 30,000, but it's your first job, straight from campus, you're still living at home. Now, 50% of that money that you're getting is supposed to go into your house and your bills. Now, you're not paying any rent because you're still at home. You're not paying any electricity bills, water bills, and all that. So it's looking at this and saying, okay, fine, this is a nice structured budgeting method. I know 50% goes here, 30%, but it doesn't have to be 50% is for essential expenses. If you're in a situation where you're not paying rent, you're not paying any bills, then 50% of the money that is income, your income, can actually go into your savings and investing. And then maybe now 30% is what goes to whatever it is that you need to pay. It could be now maybe you need to pay internet if you're working from home and you need all that. Then 20% goes into your entertainment and all that. So you switch it up dependent on the situation that you're in at that particular point in time. There are people who are like, for me, where I am, I can be able to reduce on my entertainment, my personal care. So my 30%, instead of it going to my wants, it's actually going to my savings and investing. And that becomes now how you're able to work it out. So it is not cast in stone that 50% has to go to your essentials, 30% for your entertainment, and personal care, and 20% only for savings and debt repayments. You could have a debt and you're like, this 30%, I'm actually just I want to be able to pay this loan. So for me, that 30% will go to my loan repayment. I'm going to reduce on entertainment for at least a certain period of time. I can only maybe go out once with my friends or something like that. But you have something that you're working with. So the idea here is that 50, 30, 20, it's not cast in stone. You decide what your 50% is going to be, what your 30% is going to be, and what your 20% is going to be. Yeah. And so it looks like this. So you have that, your income, you have that, and then you're like, okay, so fine, my basic expenses need to be 50%, which means for my rent, my water, my electricity, anything that is basic, food, all that, I try and fit it within that 20,000, 21,000. Then my wants, that's my personal care, eating out, being with my friends, as well. Social capital is important. Then now I make sure it does not go over and above the 12,000. Then now I work my savings and investing goes into 20%. So I have 8,400. So that means 3,400 is going to go into my savings. That could be into your money market fund, into your CHUMS account. And then you have 5,000 that goes into investing. This could be maybe just buying stocks. It could also be maybe just putting that money aside, pulling it so that you can be able to start investing into other investment opportunities. Again, as I've said, that 50%, if your 50% was for you, maybe you're at home, so you don't have rent and all that, and you decide my 50% is going to be my investments. So then that 20,000 is going into investing. Yeah. So that's the 50, 30, 20. Then, so no, those are two methods. So then we go into the third one. The third budgeting method is a zero-based budgeting. Now, this one is where you're telling yourself, I'm getting 30,000 at the end of the month. I'm going to do my budget, and my budget is going to be exactly 30,000. I am going to allocate every single shilling that I'm getting, so that at the end on my budget there, my balance reads 0. Yeah. Now, if you're one of those people who you're like, yes, I'm budgeting, and then now you get some money, like the instance where we had seen before, you've done some gig, and then you get paid, and you get an extra 2,000-3,000 bob, and you have that money in your M-Pesa, and you walk somewhere and you're like, oh, let me buy this. I'll recover next month. I'll do something next month. This is the budgeting method for you, because you're sitting there and saying, I have 32,000 shillings. This 32, where am I going to allocate it? Now, it helps if you've been able to do budgeting for a while, or at least track your expenses. So then it becomes easy for you to say, I'm paying electricity, 2,000 bob. I'm paying water, 800. And it's to the T, to the end, to the point where you see, now I am left with 0 shillings. And psychologically, if you're left with 0 shillings, in as much as you walk and you see there's a sale somewhere and you remind yourself that, hey, all my money is budgeted for. So if I really want to acquire this, whatever it is I've seen, then I have to figure out how to include it in my budget for maybe next month or the month after, like that. But I will not be able to just walk in and buy because, yes, there's money somewhere. Yeah. So this one, for the impulse buyers, this is the budgeting method for you. Now, the fourth budgeting method, this is an envelope budgeting. It's slightly similar to the 0 one, but this is where now you deciding as well to allocate money. You're saying, I'm going to spend this much on rent, and then you put that aside. So there are people who actually do like physical envelopes, and then you have your cash, especially for things like groceries. When you're buying nyanya, vitungu, mboga, unga, nyama, every other time, the perishables that you can't really buy and keep for very long. And you say, so I have observed in my house, we spend 3,000 bob, yeah, in a month on all this nyanya, vitungu, all that. So you put that aside, and you say, so every time you need, you will remove. We'll buy 500 bob. It lasts. The next time you remove, up until now, that 3,000 bob is done. Then you see, is it done when now the money, I'm getting the next batch of my income, or is it done like before I get the money? You're able to put now money as well and say, I want to go out, yes, but I'm only going to spend 2,500. So if that means me going out once or going out twice, and I try to spend 1,000, nikishamaliza the money that is there on that, and this can be your physical envelope where you have cash, you're going out and saying, I'm only going to carry 1,000 bob, that's it. Or you have it electronically and say, only have like this 1,500 on my M-Pesa, and that's all I have. Once I'm done, I'm not going to spend any more money on going out. Yeah. So if you've exhausted, then of course now you have to wait up until the next month for you to allocate more money now to be able to do that. So this helps you to create that discipline. And also as well, you're telling yourself, I want to be able to, yes, to have fun. I want to be able to do this, but I need to do it within limits. Yeah. So it helps you to keep you within your limits and create that discipline around it. So it works to the point where sometimes maybe you've set money aside. At the end of the month, you find, I have 300 or 400 bob. If you have such a situation, 2 things that you do. One, you have to see, had I overestimated how much money I would need for this? So then that means, of course, your budget for next month is going to be less what you had budgeted for this past. So if, let's say, you had said, for my transport, I need 3,000 bob, and now you've used, at the end of the month, you still have like 400 shillings. That means you only used about 2,600. So when you're budgeting for the next month, now your budget for transport needs to be 2,600, because then that means you've been able to survive on that 2,600. And you see that this gives you 400 shillings extra that can go into your savings. As you can see, for most of this, we are looking at how can your budget help you to save and invest. In the first session, we talked about one of the main things that your budget is supposed to help you do. It's to help you achieve your goals. So what goals do I have? And then you look at your budget. So how is this budget going to help me achieve these goals? Yeah, and it's not always about reducing expenses, not going out, not eating out, not hanging out with friends and all that. It's being able to understand where your money is going, how much money is coming in. Can I get more money in? Can I reduce, are there things I can be able to do in between to help me not spend as much so that I can save more? So you're choosing a budgeting method that's able to help you to save more. So every time any money remains in your envelope budgeting, your 50, 30, 20, the pay yourself or anything you get extra, always for you, make it a habit to transfer it and take it into your savings and your investment, because that's money now that's going to be able to grow later. So those are the four main budgeting methods. So you have your pay yourself, where you're going out and saying, I'm the one who's working, I'm going to put whatever money is coming in, I'm going to pay myself first. You have the 50, 30, 20, which is where you're working with 50% goes to your basic needs, 30% goes into your other expenses, and 20% goes into your savings and investing. But then as we've said, that one is not cast in stone. You're looking at your situation. If I'm not paying rent, or if I have a loan that I want to be able to repay, then you, of course, you can say my 30% is going to go into my loan repayment, because for me, that is important. That could actually be now the goal that your budget is trying to help you to achieve. Yeah. And then we have the zero budget, where you're saying, I do not want to have any opportunities to impulse spend. So what I'm going to do is I am going to fix my budget to the point where I have 0 shillings left for me to think about. I have put money for rent, I've put money for transport, and I'm sticking to where I've said that money is supposed to be spent on. Yeah. All that. And then now you're able now to stick to that budget. Then you have your envelope, where of course again you're saying, yes, I'm putting all this, this is for rent, you pay, this is for water, this is for transport, you put that aside, and you make sure you do not spend anything above what you've set aside, what you've put in your envelope for transport. If I've put money on an envelope for entertainment, that I only spend that for entertainment for that month. Yeah. So then now the question comes. So all these 4 of them, the main ones, which one do I choose? What do I think about when I'm choosing these methods? So the first is your financial status. You're looking to see, do I understand where I am financially, which is very, very important. Yeah. Because that creates now the foundation for even to start budgeting. How much money is coming in? What are my expenses? Now you cannot budget if you don't know how much money is coming in and how much money and what are your expenses are. Now it does not mean that it will be the exact amount that is coming in, but you need to be able to work with a figure. And to be able to do that, you have to have what? You have to have an idea. So you have to understand what am I doing? What am I expecting as pay? When am I expecting it? When is it coming? Yeah. And that's where you're looking at, do I have a regular source of income? If I have a job, a permanent pensionable position, or am I in consultancy where there are months you make some money, there are months where, not so much. And then you're also thinking about, do I have any debt that I need to repay? Have I taken a loan and I'm thinking about paying this debt? You're also thinking about, is there something I'm saving up to buy? I could be wanting to buy this camera so that I can be able to start videography. Or I want to buy a car so I can start Uber, or maybe just for myself and my family. But those are things you can't, just wake up and say, I'm going to the showroom today, I'm going to the car today to look for a car and buy it. It's something you think about and then you start saving for it slowly. So now that's the first thing. When you're thinking about Do I have a regular source of income or irregular? So there are budgeting methods that you can be able to use if you have a regular source of income. If you're thinking about let's say, for example, the zero budget, you're working with that your source of income. I know I'm getting 30,000. I'm going to work my budget up until that 30,000. If you're, let's say you're in and you're earning, you have an irregular source of income, then that means you understand the fact that I may not be able to get some money, maybe 2-3 months down the line, it's going to be a bit hard for me to get some cash. So what do I need to do? Which budgeting method will be good for me? I will go for that pay yourself first, because that money that I'm paying myself first, remember, it's going into my saving. That is the money that is going to save me on the days that I don't have income, or maybe the income that is coming in is not as much. So it will help me to cater for all the expenses as I recover, and then maybe now later on go back to getting a good source of income. If you're thinking about, so I have a debt to repay, so which one would I work with? I can work with the 50, 30, 20 and make sure that 50, of course, goes into my basic needs. Those are the things which I need to be able to work and make this money. But because I have this debt and I want to pay it, then I'm going to assign 30% or 20% to go into that debt repayment. So now you structure it like that. So you see, you can be in very different situations, and you choose the budgeting method that's going to help you in the current financial situation you're in. Of course, again, we've said financial goals is a second consideration when you're choosing a budgeting method, because when you're budgeting, you have to decide, this budget that I have, what is it supposed to help me do? You know, like what we've just said, if it's supposed to help you at least to clear that loan that you have, you're looking which budgeting method is going to help me to be able to do that. Yeah. And then you follow through with that one. Then at what budgeting stage as well? If you're just starting out budgeting, you know, don't go into the zero and the envelope, because then you can, with the envelope, you can get tempted a bit. The zero one, you're like, hey, this is too stringent. So you'll be like, let me start with, you know, the one at least that gives me a bit of structure. So you can start with that 50, 30, 20. So, you know, 50%, you're like, okay, so what do I have? What do I want to allocate the 50% to? What can I allocate the 30% to? What can I allocate the 20% to? And then once you get, you know, you become better at budgeting, then now you can start using all these other methods like the zero-based. You know, you induct yourself slowly, pole too, and all that. So you consider what budgeting stage you're in. And the fourth one is as well, so are you are you a passive budgeter or an active budgeter? An active budgeter is the one, ukirudi unasema, hey, I said I'm going to spend 3,000 on transport. Today is the 15th. How much have I spent? Have I spent more than 1,500? So that I know I have another 1,500 before the end of the month. You know, if you're that kind of person, then you know it's easy for you. You want to be able to track your expenses, and you enjoy doing that. So if you enjoy such, then it will be easy for you to be able to choose a budgeting method that allows you to be able to do that. So I had set aside 3. So if you're using the zero-based budget, you're saying I'd set aside 3,000 and you're tracking it. How close am I to finishing my money? You know, like that. So then you have the ones where you go like, okay, for me, I don't really want to have that much attention per se to do like to be an active active budgeter. So you're looking for a method that will allow you to set aside that money and just work with it. Yeah, you don't have to keep track on it as well. So you want to be a passive budgeter. So you choose one that will allow you, you set that money aside, it is there, you know, I have this much, and that's it. And all you need to do is to make sure you peep there and see, oh, there's 1,000 left. So I know I only have 1,000 left. I will work myself within that 1,000. And so, yeah. So those are the 4 main considerations. Yeah, you're looking at, so what's my financial status, and what are my financial goals? You're thinking about what budgeting stage am I at? And then as well, do I want to do active budgeting, where I keep tracking all the time? There's some level of tracking you have to do, especially when you're starting out with your budgeting journey. So you need to be able to track for a few months so that you can be able to see my elect bill is this level, my water is this, my rent is this. So that you would have to be able to sacrifice at least to be able to do that, so that now you can be able to get some good, accurate numbers to help you to budget better. Yeah, and that. So for me, I think just to finish off, it's the 5 key things I want us to remember. One, and this gets asked a lot, like, honestly, I don't think I have enough money to budget. There's no amount that is too small for you to start budgeting, because I always say, if you start and you create that discipline and you're able to take control of your money when it is that small, it could be that 5, that 10, that 15. But when you do that, when you get to the point where you have your hundreds, you're going into your millions, you have created that discipline, and you carry that discipline with you even when you're controlling and managing that 1 million plus. Yeah. And again, that's why, like I said in the beginning, you see the situations where there are people you look at who you never imagined they would go broke, but they've gone broke. You thought they had all this money, but they've gone broke. It's because that discipline needs to be cultivated, even from that small amount that you think you have is going to play a very significant role in how you'll manage and control your money when you get there, whatever level you're aspiring and working to get to. So that's the first. No amount is too small. It's you to be able to decide, what can I be able to set aside? What's my priority? What are the expenses that help me to meet these priorities that I have? Then you're able to set that aside, and then you grow, and your budgeting as well. I find that when you're budgeting, even for that small amount, it starts giving you, to challenge you and motivate you to figure out how you can be able to grow. Because you start off and saying, well, I'm saving 1,000. This is August. I've managed to save 7,000, Bob. Imagine if I could be able to figure out this budget, if I work it and I'm able to save 2,000, then that means by December, how much will I have? That, so it starts challenging you to look for opportunities within what your income levels, your expenses, on ways that you can be able to grow yourself. Meanwhile, if you didn't budget, you would not be able to figure out where are these opportunities that I can be able to save more, invest more, and grow myself. Yeah, to those points where now you're getting to the 100,000s, the 1 million. So don't be afraid to start small. Then the second one is set clear goals, that your budget is helping you to achieve. You understand, you're looking at your budget and you're saying, this budget is supposed to help maybe buy a camera because I want to be a videographer. I want to take some good videos for influencers and get some good money on the side. I want to be able to buy this piece of land, or it could even be I just want to be able to start investing. So yes, I'm saving, I'm putting some money in my emergency fund, but I really want to start investing because I want to be able to get some passive income. So when you're creating that budget, of course, now you're looking at, can I be able to, out of this money that is coming in, my priority is, of course, yes, I have to pay rent, I need somewhere to live, I need to eat, but I want this budget to be able to help me to start investing. So how much can I be able to set aside for investing? And now that budget helps you to achieve that, because you plan your money around that goal that you have set. And as I said, of course, when you look at your budget, when you have it, you're able now to see all those opportunities of being able to increase your income. If you're doing consultancy and maybe you see, hey, I've been monitoring the income I'm getting from this gig that I've done. This other month I got paid 12,000, but this one I got 16,000. Then I got 15,000. Then I got 12 again. So you start asking yourself, what did I do on this month? I got 15 and 16, because I want to be able to make that like my new standard. Then now you start looking into, what did I do? If it's like some paid work, did I do more? Or did I give them like a good service? What exactly did I do? And then now you figure out, if you can be able to do more of that. If you're looking at reducing your expenses, it's saying, I thought I spent 3,000 on my transport, but I ended up spending 2,500. Why did I spend 2,500? That day, maybe, I got a lift, or did I walk up until somewhere and then I got a mat and it was cheaper? So maybe that walk would do me some good from work. I debrief as I'm walking to that stop that I'm going to pay transport cheaper. You start now looking at all those small opportunities. You see, I'm not saying walk all the way. Some people think of budgeting as now I'll have to cut down, remove, not do this. Yeah, you're looking for opportunities, because they also have to be opportunities that you can be able to sustainably grow. Because remember, this is a journey. You want to start budgeting for your 20,000, and then at some point you want to start budgeting for your 50,000, your 100,000. So you're always looking within your budget, where are these areas that I can be able to get my budget from, a budget of 15 to a budget of 25, like that. Yeah. And then choose a budgeting method that suits you. When you understand what you're trying to achieve with your budget, when you understand yourself, what do you value more? How are you? Like, I'm an impulse buyer. Yeah, so for me, let me really try and see if I can do that, the zero-based budgets, because I don't want any money lying around. I will end up spending on something that maybe I will regret 2 days later or so. So it's understanding yourself. What do I, how am I? And then of the 4 that we have discussed, which one do you feel best suits you to be able to start with? And of course, again, the 5th one is to remember, we don't know what tomorrow holds. So many things change. We start work, maybe you change jobs, you're getting a bit more money, you get married, you get kids. So on that budget of yours, you'll start, your rent will go up, your water, electricity bill might go up. You start budgeting for kids, maternity cover or childcare, all those ones. Now you have to start getting a nanny into the house, so you have to budget as well. That becomes part of your expenses. So your budget does not have to be stuck, like this is what I'm working with and that's it. You can always, you adapt it depending on the changes that are happening in your life. And when you do that, then you find that your budgeting actually ends up now growing with you as well. So those are my 5 key tips when it comes to budgeting. And that brings me the end. I hope I am on time, though I was hoping to have a few minutes for questions, because when we did the sign up form, I got a few questions from people. So just allow me to be able to try. I'm hoping I've managed to answer some of them. One question was, how do you budget without denying yourself? Well, that balance is usually very hard, because you remember, yes, the money is coming in. You want to be able to save, to invest, start earning all these dividends that people are talking about. But then you want to live now and you're thinking, I don't have that much money. It's to be able to see, as well as I said, if you're looking which budgeting method best suits you. So you'd choose the one that suits you. But within that, don't deny yourself. Don't remove the entertainment completely. Because again, we've said we are social beings, we need to build on our social capital as well. So it's being able to put that in place. And then you also find as you grow your budget, then your allocation for some of these things also grow. They might not grow as much, but if you're on a budget of 15,000 and you're saying, I'm going to allocate me going out with friends, maybe just 1,000 to 1,500. When you get opportunities to maybe make more money or reduce your transport and all that, and then you reach the point where maybe now you've grown your budget and now whatever is coming in is about 25,000, then you'll find you had allocated 1,500 for entertainment, but now you can comfortably say, yes, I'm saving, I'm investing, I can still enjoy maybe some 2,000 or 2,500. So you keep growing it like that. Yeah. Then how do you effectively use a 50, 30, 20? That's the one I've said, it's not cast in stone. So it's good if you're able now to decide what is your 50, what is your 30, what is your 20. How do you budget to avoid temptation? That one, of course, we've said for people who are, you know yourself, if that is you, then do try the zero-based budget where you know I don't have money. And psychologically, you know, if I don't have money, you'll see it, you'll appreciate it, but you'll walk on because you know you don't have. But if you think that money is somewhere, or I have it on my M-Pesa and all that, you can easily spend it. Yeah. How do you save up more without giving up on your daily life on a low income? As I've said, you know, even that low income, at times you can be able to try and save up, pole pole, but even as you're saving up, you're also doing what? You're also able to put some money aside for now. You know, yes, you're saving for tomorrow and for the future, but because you're living now, you also have to provide for yourself for now. Yeah. So those are how do you maintain consistency in budgeting? Yes, this is a challenge most of us have. You know, sometimes you start budgeting. I'm hoping most of us who are not yet budgeting will start budgeting after this session. And then now once you're able to do that, it becomes, after a while, you know, you feel like now you're falling off the bandwagon. One key tip I always give people, I say when you start budgeting, it's not just about sitting down and putting the numbers. Again, it's you choosing the budgeting method that best works for you. One that you feel like I'm comfortable doing this, I'm enjoying it. And then can you budget in places where, you know, not siko top of computer looking also serious, crunching the numbers and all that. Sometimes change, you know, change your setting where you can be able to budget outside, you know, carry your laptop or your phone if you're doing it on an app, and you do it from a different setting. You know, could be just going out and saying, you're 1,000 maker, 1,500 I've put aside. Maybe I'll take myself somewhere, sit. You know, you have like your own date, and then you look through your budget. So it's looking for the small things that will encourage you to save more. Sometimes it's actually just taking that time to be able to look and see the progress that you have made. You know, unaona, nilianzia hapa, but now at least this budget has helped me to improve. I've managed to pay that loan or even half of that loan. So, you know, those small things keep motivating you to be able to do that. So those were some of the questions. There was one, actually quite several, which were asking, how do you budget when you have an irregular income? And I thought that's quite heavy. So I'm hoping we'd be able to do another webinar like this, where now we can tackle that fully and see. So for those of us, what were biashara, you know, pesa inaingia this month, next month inaingia, month 3, maybe even better. Then month 4, it starts drying up. Month 5, like that. So, and you know, you really want to budget. How are you able to budget for that? So I will organize and share on my socials, and now for the next session we'll be able to do just to tackle that budgeting on an irregular income, because I saw quite a number of questions for people who are asking how to be able to do that. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please share them on the screen. I'll start answering the ones that we are sharing live. Eric is asking, what advice do you give someone who is yearning to save, but she ends up spending the money and to end without saving? So the first advice is, of course, budget. And the budgeting method I would recommend for someone, because this is someone who's looking to, you really want to save. So I would say pay yourself first. And the second one is make sure when you're paying yourself, that money goes into a fund. So you are looking at, where am I saving? Yeah, if I'm saving and I'm saving on my Chums account, then that means the minute that money comes, the first thing I do is I'm allocating my 3,000 to save. That 3,000 goes directly into your savings, into your Chums account, your money market fund, and all that. Because when it is there, you know, this is what I'm left to work with. Yeah. So as opposed to saying, yes, I will do it, and then you don't. So you assign the amount, send it there, and then work with what is left. I think that psychologically really helps as well, up to the point where now you find especially when you see how your money is growing, the interest it's earning on that money market fund, on your CHUMS fund, then you're able now to easily put money aside to save, however little. But just to be able to help you develop that discipline first is you make it a habit that when you get the money, however little, it could be that 5, and you're like, out of this 5, let me put 1,000 into my CHUMS app, and you put it, and then now you work with that 4,000 to help you with your expenses. Next time, if you get like 7,000 and you say, okay, fine, I can do 1,500 or 2,000, you do that first, put it away first, save it first, and then the rest caters for your expenses. Yeah, I hope that helps. Thank you. So Annette is asking, thank you, Annette Ruben. What if you're saving money and end up finding the saved money now saves you for days you don't have another money, just the next month? I think that is good, because then that means that money has come in handy. But I hope that also now motivates you to see the point of, in your budget, making sure that the money, you are actually setting money aside to save, however little. Yeah, because as I've said, if you're saving 500 now, or 1,000 now, that 3,500 or that 7,000 that you have as at July is money that you didn't have. So when you see that, I hope that keeps you motivated to make sure that on your budget you have allocation for saving, and you actually keep saving. So whether that situation comes next month or 3 months down the line, it means you're in a slightly better position than someone who had not saved at all and they're facing a similar situation. Yeah. So just keep saving. We all don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next month. So it's just good to be able to keep aside, have that component of savings on your budget. It does come in handy. Which are some of the best MMFs in the investment sector? Maybe an insight on where to begin. Yeah, so when you're choosing a money market fund, there are very many considerations to make because there are quite a number of them. All of them are run by different professional fund managers, very good at their job. So it's now you as an investor to decide, you as a saver to decide, what am I looking for? There are those ones who will provide you with a very robust digital platform so that you are able to deposit your money, withdraw your money, like that. Then you have the ones now, the different rates that they're able to offer you. So you're looking at that as well. There are people who say, no, for me, I want to go for a money market fund that is stable, has been there for a while. So you are looking to see which are those. So for this, yes, we, again, Annie, thank you. This would actually also be like a session in itself, because this is money that you're putting aside. You need to be able to understand what is that whole framework. From when I put my money, where is my money going? Is it sitting with that fund manager, or who's in custody of that fund? What are they doing with the money that I'm giving them and the returns? Why is one fund manager giving me a better return, giving people a better return than another one? And the other thing as well is to think, so what are the initial the initial deposits that you need to make when you're opening. So there are fund managers who tell you, so initial is maybe just 1,000 shillings, and then you can top up 500 or more any other time. There are those ones who say ours is 3,000 shillings, ours is 5,000. So there are very different considerations for you to be able to look at. But yes, so that's I think one session as well that we can be able to have, so that we get people to fully understand about the money market funds, so that when you're looking at all the list of the money market funds that are there, that are licensed in Kenya, because the most important thing is you're putting your money on with a licensed fund, yeah, not just one that's giving you returns, but a licensed fund. Any other question? Thank you. Okay, so any other question, comment, a clarification you'd want before we end it? I think we've gone slightly over time, but we did start 10 minutes late, so I believe we are we are within time as well. Thank you, Eric. Yeah. So I think my parting shot would be, thank you, Lynetta. So my parting shot would be, I'm really hoping that with this session, and as I've said, this and the previous session on budgeting, I'm going to upload them and have them on my YouTube, so that at least you can be able to just go through them. But for me, it's to encourage, and I'm hoping that these sessions have helped you to realize the importance of budgeting, because that's also one of the other ways you can keep budgeting, is if we get to see and understand how important this process is for all of us to be able to do. That's the first process when it comes to managing our money. Yeah. So yes. Thank you. So I've been asked. Oh, thank you. Anne says this is the first webinar that the moderator has started with prayers for the session. Very educative. Asante sana. So for personal consultation, how does one get in touch with you, Eric? My contacts are there. You can reach me on socials. I am Linda.Makatiani. You can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, starting to grow my YouTube as well, so I can be able to share such recordings from these webinars with everyone out there. But yes, do reach out. Let's talk. For me, I'm very passionate about getting people to understand that finance is not very complex. Personal finance is very personal for each of us, but it's very, very important. So it's good when we start growing ourselves, because remember, when we grow ourselves, we get to grow our children. And so we end up being a generation that's financially literate. And that's how we can be able to grow ourselves, our communities, and our economies. So do share. I'll have this, I'll share the link with you. So please share with the ones maybe who are not able to attend today, so that they can also get some insights on budgeting. And yes, follow me on social media. If you remember any questions you'd want to ask, please reach out. My email is there. My number is there. And then we can be able to get in touch and talk more. But with that, asanteni sana. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing you on the next session, which now I am starting to work on how we can be able to budget for those of us who are on an irregular income. Yeah. So thank you very much. Again, thank you to Chooms for partnering with me on this. Please do, for the ones who are looking for an easy way to save, please do download the Chooms app and start saving with them. Reach out to them. They'll be able to give you more information on how to do that. But a very good platform that helps us to create that savings culture as well. So asanteni sana, and I look forward to seeing you and more of you during the next webinar.